What's up, guys? You ready to make a new tier list?
If we can keep Sleepy Joe's abysmal takes to a bare minimum, I'll do another one with you, Barack.
Shut up, Donald.
I was thinking we could rank exotic weapons in Destiny 2 today.
Very good, very good.
But there's a lot of them, so let's just start with the weapons from year one.
Good idea, Barack. We have to keep it short. Sleepy Joe is going to die of old age any second now.
Better than dying of heart failure, you fat fucking clown.
Focus, guys. Why don't we start off with Suros Regime? I personally think this is a solid B tier. It's a decent weapon.
Take, Barack. This weapon is garbage, and I mean pure garbage.
Spoken like a true asshole, Donald. Suros absolutely shreds in the Crucible.
I do recall it was an absolute menace during Season of Arrivals.
Yes, it was meta for one season because someone at Bungie decided to turn 600 autos into free win buttons in PvP. But that was literally the only time it was worth using.
It's still a great weapon in PvP, Trump. It has variable rates of fire, melts enemies in open space, and heals on kill.
This is a certified D-tier weapon in any season except Arrivals.
I'm putting it in C tier. Sweet business.
I don't see what's so great about this one.
That's because you don't know shit about business, Joe. Take it from a multi-billion-dollar businessman. This is a fun weapon.
Sweet business is fun, but I feel like it should be stronger. No one really uses it except Actium War Rig Titans who want to meme.
A good Titan can be a problem with it in the Crucible. But it's true, this weapon is fun to use but doesn't really shine. It's B tier, at best.
You would know about Titan builds, Crayon Eater.
Titans defend the walls of the city. I want to build a wall around our country. I see nothing wrong with that.
C tier is fine. How about Crimson?
Does a Vanguard banned weapon make you nostalgic about committing war crimes, Barack?
Shut up, Donald. This is a good hand cannon.
Everyone knows that it's just a crappier version of Red Death from Destiny 1, and I love hand cannons.
You only love them because their huge aim assist helps hide the horrible shaking of your geriatric hands, Sleepy Joe.
Shut up, Donald. Hand cannons are cool. I love feeling like a space cowboy. But the burst fire of Crimson makes it feel strange. It's a strong weapon, but doesn't have a lot of use outside PvP. C tier sound good?
Yes.
Works for me.
How about Sturm?
I fucking love
A novelty weapon, Barack. One that forces you to use double primary for its full effect and was only worth using when 120 hand cannons were busted as hell.
But the Sturmdrang pairing is a genuinely interesting gameplay loop, and I love seeing 90-plus rounds in the mag on my gun.
I used Sturm the first time I went flawless.
You got carried, Sleepy Joe. Your KD is like 0.4. They sell wheelchairs for players who break their backs carrying your old ass to the lighthouse.
The pairing with Drang is a fun combo, but I agree. Outside of the time when 120s were overtuned, this exotic gets lost in the pack. I'm putting it in C tier.
But it has a unique reload animation.
Personally, I think D tier is a better place for it, but let's move on. What's next, Barack?
Next, we have Vigilance Wing. This is pretty much a purely PvP weapon, and I think it's generally been a pretty strong primary across several eras of the game.
This weapon is trash. It's literally only good in the Crucible.
It is a very strong primary, Barack. I've gotten many we-rans with this. It hits hard, has good range. I think this is an A-tier gun.
Bullshit, Donald. I dare you to bring Vigilance Wing into a Nightfall. You'll get melted before you kill one drag.
Joe has a point, Donald. Even if it's a good PvP weapon, I think the higher tiers should be reserved for exotics that shine in both. I'm putting it in B tier.
This list sucks.
You're the one who sucks.
Next up is Meta Multitool. This was PvP meta back in Destiny 1.
The key word there is was. Barack scout rifles have been trash for almost the entire lifespan of Destiny 2.
But as far as scout rifles go, it's one of the best. Movement speed boost, radar stays up in ADS, solid stats across the board. I think it's a decent primary.
Maybe in PvP, but I don't know if I've ever seen anyone use it in PvE the entire time I've been playing.
If I was a year older for every exotic that's a decent PvP primary, I'd be 1,000 years old, and that means I'd be almost as old as Joe. This is a C-tier weapon at best.
Below Vigilance Wing?
Vigilance Wing doesn't offer half the perks that Mida does.
It's mediocre, Joe. Me-D-ocre.
C tier is fine. How about Jade Rabbit?
F tier.
God, this weapon sucks. I agree with Joe.
I've done well with it in PvP.
Yes, it can 3-tap. It still sucks.
Get it out of here. Let's go.
All right. Now I think it's time for our first S tier exotic. Squeak, squeak, motherfuckers, it's Rat King.
Meme gun.
I admit Rat King is interesting, but I don't love an exotic that requires everyone in the fire team to have it equipped in order to function at its best.
Interesting. It's got no range, and if no one else is using it, it's weak as fuck.
Skill issue, Joe. Take from both of you. Rat King gives healing and invisibility. It has great DPS for a primary. And when you stack Rat Pack, it can do legitimate raid boss DPS. Remember when we killed Galran with it?
That was a great time. One of my favorite raiding memories. I miss Crown of Sorrow so much.
It's also one of the only guns with its own online community. That should tell you how underrated it is. Admit it, boys, Rat King is fire.
I acknowledge that it's a cult favorite gun, but I simply don't think it's versatile enough to be top tier.
It's fun to meme with it as a fire team, but I'm not going to use my exotic slot on it.
Screw you guys. But fine, I'll put it in A tier. Let's talk about the Huckleberry.
Now, this is an S-tier exotic.
You're capping if you think Huck is S tier, but Rat King isn't.
Barack, this is one of the best ad-clear weapons in the game. It has the old unnerfed rampage, increased rate of fire, and reloads itself on every kill. I can shoot this thing for days and just mow down ads. Oh my God, it's so fun.
And you don't need 5 teammates using it for it to be good. This thing's DPS when it gets spun up is absolute gas.
I admit it's a strong ad-clear weapon, but is that enough to make it S tier?
Not just strong, Barack, one of the strongest in the game. Look at my raid report and look at how many kills I have with this thing. It carried me on Vow of the Disciple Day 1.
It's great in the Crucible, too. 750 SMGs have always been solid. I don't know about S tier, but it's at least A tier.
S tier, no question.
I don't feel good putting it above Rat King. It is strong, and that reload animation is low-key slick as fuck. So let's do A tier. How about Hard Light?
C tier.
D tier.
This thing was busted as fuck in Arrivals. Remember Trials of Osiris on Anomaly? All people did was spam it around corners.
Oh my God, that was so cringe.
They had to nerf it so many times. Every match was a fucking rave laser show.
On God, this weapon was goated in 0 hour.
I agree, Joe, but 0 hour has been out of the game for a while, and since then, there are more different ways to break shields without needing a weapon that switches energy types.
They nerfed it because of broken 600s in Arrivals, and it sucks now. When was the last time you put it on, Barack?
It was great when it had perfect stability and no damage fall off. Those days are long gone.
You were ancient even then, Sleepy Joe.
D tier is fine. How about Merciless?
This is a cool idea for a fusion rifle, but Bungie never got it right. Either it didn't have enough ammo or fusions were nerfed and it was useless. This is a DPS weapon that gets out-damaged by heavies and doesn't have enough reserves to be reliable.
Well said, Joe. Pure facts.
I think D tier works for Merciless. For real, for real. Now let's do Fighting Lion.
Easiest S tier of my life, Barack. This is not just the best weapon in the game, it's one of the best weapons in any video game ever.
Are you kidding me, Donald? It's a meme gun. This thing has sucked balls since it came out.
Skill issue.
Fighting Lion has a very dedicated fan base. It even has a cult following.
That's because it's the perfect weapon, Barack. It's S tier ad clear, it's S tier against majors, it's great DPS for a primary, and it is absolutely fucking goated in the Crucible. There's no better weapon. Praise be the lion.
You just like it because you don't have to aim.
Joe, this is the highest skill weapon in the game. I'm sorry it doesn't have hit scan aim assist, turn to 1,000,000 like your hand cannons do. Not only do you have to learn the trajectory and angles of the projectile, but you have to master the timing of the detonation, while also mastering hot swapping. There's even the manual reload tech, where skilled users can start the reload animation early and ready another shot faster. This is a weapon that takes a lot of work to master and just gets more rewarding the more you get familiar with it.
People just spam it around corners.
Guys.
Everyone knows it's a cheesy, brain-dead weapon.
Joe, even when grenade launchers were out of control back in Season of the Splicer, Fighting Lion saw low usage numbers in both PvP and PvE.
Guys.
So is it a cheese weapon or is it trash? You're contradicting yourself.
You're just mad it got nerfed so noobs like you couldn't spam it infinitely in Crucible. Playing against a Fighting Lion user is the worst experience imaginable. It literally sucks ass.
Guys.
Playing against anything sucks for you, Joe. You're ass in PvP and you crutch on the easiest weapons. Fighting Lion was unjustly nerfed because people were spamming ignition code and Salvager's salvo back in Splicer. Those were special ammo weapons that could one-hit kill. Bungie said they wanted GLs to be skill weapons like the old Pro Pipe GL and Halo Reach, and then they immediately made them auto-detonate on impact rather than require manual detonation.
Guys, can we
to
just get this
appease
moving?
all the plebs that said they were too hard to use.
That was a quality of life change, Donald. Why would a grenade ever require manual detonation to not bounce off an enemy?
To reward skilled users who are good with timing their detonations. It's not my fault you have problems prematurely blowing your payload, Sleepy Joe. It happens often to older men like yourself.
Only when I'm with your mom, you orange piece of shit.
Fighting Lion did nothing wrong.
Guys, we have a lot of exotic
It didn't
weapons
deserve
left.
any of the nerfs it got, and if Bungie knew what they were doing, they would revert them all. It's a legitimate high-skill weapon in a game.
High skill? You're joking. At least hand cannons require you to aim.
Aim at a cone around your enemy's head that's bigger than your mother's fat ass, Joe. Hand cannons were specifically designed
Oh, my God.
to give low-skill players the illusion that they can hit with precision weapons. There's a reason they've been the most used primaries since the game launched. They are the easiest weapon class to use in the game. They have more aim assist than the Secret Service gives you to help keep your piss going into the urinal.
If I put it in S tier, will you just shut up, Donald?
Barack, this weapon deserves its own tier. It's above S tier. Fighting Lion is God tier.
Absolute cringe.
Fine, it's time to move on.
Praise be the Lion.
This next one is an exotic I think we can all agree on. It's Sunshot.
Agree on what, Barack? That it's a B tier exotic?
At best.
Actually, yes. It's a fun, ad-clear weapon and plays well in a lot of activities.
It synergizes well with the Solar 3.0 builds too.
Facts, boys. It may not be meta, but the design is great, the sound effects are cool, and I love watching all those solar explosions.
I'm glad we can agree on something. Next up is Graviton Lance.
This is just a shittier purple version of Sunshot.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe, it's shittier except it has better range, wider area of effect for its chain reactions, and probably the best ornament in the game in Carina Nebula. The audio is so good as well.
That is a beautiful ornament, but Graviton is just not as strong in PvP as Sunshot, and in general just isn't as good. I'm putting it in C tier.
Barack, I can kill more ads in Shuro-Chi with this weapon than the rest of the fire team combined. It is so slept on. Put it with Sunshot.
One encounter and one raid doesn't make a weapon good, Donald. I have to side with Barack on this one. It's C tier.
Fuck!
Let's keep moving on. I'm just going to drop Polaris Lance into D tier.
Bet.
And this is going to be the easiest shit ever, Skyburner's Oath.
F tier.
Instant F tier, literally the worst DPS in the game. Worse than even legendary weapons.
Then we're all agreed. Now we're looking at Borealis.
Easy D tier.
Joe is speaking facts. This is D tier, if not F tier. For real, for real.
These energy-swapping weapons are relics from a different era of the game, and the mechanics have outgrown them. But I think F tier is a little harsh, so I'm putting it in D.
This is going smoothly.
Yeah, it's nice to agree on something. I think we're going to keep it going with this next one. It's Risk Runner.
Honestly, I don't know whether to put this in A or S tier.
The perks on this gun are insane. Damage resistance, endless mag, chain lightning damage, it's the whole package.
Both of you are spitting facts. I high-key simp for this gun, no cap. But I think since it requires incoming arc damage to get its exotic perks going, it really shines in some situations more than others. For that reason, I'm putting it in A tier.
Fair enough, Barack. But can we get this going? I have a tanning appointment in an hour, and I want to run a duality first.
Is your appointment at the Orange Paint Factory?
Very funny, Joe, coming from someone with the wrinkliest old leather skin anyone's ever seen.
Okay, guys, there are still a lot of exotics left to rank, but let's wrap up this session with Telesto.
Oh my God, this gun.
This gun has broken the game more times than Obama has broken the Geneva Convention.
Donald, that's uncalled for. I think we're all aware that this weapon has been problematic from a coding perspective, but it's actually a pretty solid gun.
It is a strong weapon in both PvP and PvE. Great design and audio too, and some cool ornaments.
Yeah, I think it's a solid B tier weapon, aside from how broken it can be.
Put it in B tier and let's get out of here, Barack.
B tier it is. All right, guys, I'm launching a duality. Join up.
You got it, boss.
On my way.
Who is that?
What the fuck? It's Telesto.
It's got a mind of its own.
What do you want, Telesto?
Holy shit, it's taking itself out of B tier.
Guys, I can't kick him from the channel. It's taken over admin perms.
It's putting itself in S tier.
Fuck, let's get out of here.